Greetings and welcome to another video. So my name's Mark, and in September this year I'm going to be in Kenya competing in the Four Ranges Ultramarathon, which is a fundraiser for Save the Rhino International. Today's video is going to be in three parts. Part one is about what's happened since the last video, which I made back in February. Part two is a training and fundraising update, and part three is what's on the radar going forward. So, first of all, what's happened since the last update? I guess the number one thing is that the Old Ghost Ultra came and went. So back in February I was privileged enough to toe the line at Sedenville on the west coast of the South Island in New Zealand and have a crack at my first proper ultramarathon. And yeah, what a brilliant event. Everything about it was first class, and the whole experience made it one of the best events I've ever competed in, I think. There was a fantastic vibe about the whole thing, right from the first registration through to the final prize giving, and the course, of course, is fantastic. So yeah, just really loved the whole experience. My training had gone pretty well, so on the start line I was kind of quietly confident that at least I'd get through to the other end. I had a couple of goal times in mind, but really had no idea how the day was going to unfold, and I was very respectful of the distance and the fact that all sorts of things can go pear-shaped in an ultramarathon. And being my first ultramarathon, I certainly wasn't overconfident, that's for sure. So I really just focused on sticking to the plan. We had a good pacing plan and a good nutrition and hydration plan, and then we just kind of let the day unfold. Tried not to get into any competition against other people and just work on getting through to the other end. So my finish time was 10 hours 38 minutes, which was okay. It wasn't fantastic, but it was alright. And it was good enough to get me a bronze medal in the over 60 age group. The prize for that was a free entry into the 2024 event, which was pretty cool. More on that coming up in the next section. You can watch the race video that I made at this link down below here, and there'll be a link in the description as well. That'll sort of give you a bit of idea of what the course was like and how the day unfolded. So 2 weeks after the Old Ghost, I ran a leg of the Mara Sprint Triathlon in Tauranga for a senior Waihi team. We had a crack swimmer and a crack cyclist, so the pressure was on a little bit, but we managed to finish second team overall, which was quite pleasing, and we had a great time with a bunch of other Waihi people over there doing the event as well. And then the following weekend I did the Total Sport Coastal Challenge on Auckland's North Shore. It's a 25k course that runs from Long Beach down to Devonport. Really cool course. I've done it 3 or 4 times before and always really enjoyed it. It was pretty eventful, but we had loads of fun. I had a fairly major crash about halfway through and managed to wind myself, cut my finger, sprain my wrist and bruise some ribs. But after I recovered from that, I ended up in a head-to-head with another guy for 3rd and 4th overall. Not that either of us knew it at the time, but that's the way it unfolded. But yeah, I got out sprinted in the last half a kilometre, so I missed the podium, but yeah, just had a great time. Very, very cool event, and pretty pleased with my endurance, which I guess is what you would expect after all that Old Ghost Ultra training. Yeah, I'd really recommend that event to anybody who wants to do something a little bit different, and I'll leave a link in the description so you can find out more about the event if you think you'd like to have a crack at it. So in terms of training for the Four Ranges Ultra, after that little bit of racing finished in March, I took a little bit of time off from the program that I've been doing and did a bit of biking, a bit of hiking, and then on April 1st it all sort of started over again. I bought a new training program from the Training Peaks people, and that was a program that was designed specifically for multi-day stage races. I'm now in week 13 of that 21-week program. That's when I start my taper, and then there's another fortnight or so leading into the race. It's been going really well so far, and I haven't missed any key sessions. April was mostly focused on getting used to the various sessions and just getting the body familiar with the routine. But in May the load came on with a bit more intensity and a bit more volume. A few weeks ago I had my first so-called shock weekend, which involved a 3-hour hike with a 12 kg pack on Saturday, followed by a 4.5-hour run on Sunday, and then another 3.5-hour run on Monday. I was pretty pleased with how that went. No niggles showed up, and I wasn't too sort of smashed at the end of it. It was tough, but it didn't really sort of crush me, so pretty chuffed with how that went. I've been trying to mix up the training locations as much as I can just to keep it interesting, and a few weeks ago I did a 5.5 hour run in the Hunua Ranges in conjunction with Total Sports Xterra Hunua race. That was a pretty nice change of scenery and environment. It's quite nice to be out in a big crowd of people, sort of kept me going for that second half of the long run. I also tested all of my camping kit because I went up there on Saturday and stayed the night, Saturday night, and then got up early and started my run on Sunday morning. It was pretty cold, and it's going to be pretty cold in Kenya overnight too, so it's good to know the limits of my gear. And I kind of figured I was really sort of just on the limit with the stuff that I had, so yeah, may need to revise that a little bit, but I think I'm pretty close. So last week was an easy recovery week, and then this week I've had an interval session yesterday and easy day today, some hill repeats tomorrow, and then on Sunday I've got a 5.5 hour run, followed by a 4 hour hike on Monday with a loaded pack. So yeah, things are definitely starting to get quite serious now. I've been really privileged to have lots of people jump in and join me on my long runs to keep me company. It's really very much appreciated. It helps me get out the door, and it certainly helps me keep going to the end to make sure I get the best out of all the sessions as well. I very much appreciate that. Thank you, people. So in July there are a couple of 6 and 7 hour runs coming up, bookended by 3 hour hikes and slightly shorter runs either side as well. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, really looking forward to it, and if things can keep ticking over the way they have been, then I'll be pretty happy. So the fundraising has been going really well as well. We've raised, I think, pretty close to $3,000 so far, which is just incredible. Really pleased with the response from everybody, and yeah, really appreciate the contribution that everybody's made so far. I'm sure there'll be a range regarding a rhino somewhere in Kenya who will be eternally grateful for the contribution that you've made. You never know, you might just save a rhino's life, which would be very cool. Next week we've got a fundraising evening here in Waihi. It's going to take the form of a presentation about the Four Ranges event and the cause, and it'll be followed by a quiz night and then a raffle draw. We've had nearly $1,000 worth of spot prizes donated for the event, which is amazing. People have just offered all sorts of stuff. So yeah, we've got pretty good odds of winning a prize if you come along to that, but if you are thinking about coming along, you do need to book because we're only limited to 30 tickets, so, and it's just about sold out. In terms of travel, we're in the process of applying for visas at the moment and booking our travel vaccinations, and working through our itinerary for the four-wheel drive, self-drive safari that we're going to be doing prior to the race during the taper. And on top of that, I've been finalising all my gear for the race and trialling different sleep systems and ways to pack my pack. Now this is my running pack here. That's got about half of the stuff in it that I need to take on the race, which is a little bit of a worry. Sleeping bag, puffer jacket and pillow in there, and all of the freeze-dried food is packed up in here. And that's my sleeping mat on there. That probably weighs about 3 kilos, I think, by the feel of it. So it's not too heavy at this stage, but I'm running short of space, so I'm not sure how we're going to go there. I've got a bit of work to do to see how I can get everything into that pack, so it's a bit of a work in progress at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get it sorted. So in terms of what's coming up next, obviously the focus right now is on the Four Ranges Ultra. Full steam ahead on that for race day on the 3rd of September. It's only 7 weeks until we leave for Kenya now, so yeah, pretty full on focused on that. But when I come back, I've got a couple of things lined up. I've got an entry into the Hunua Hillbilly on the 18th of November, which I'm really looking forward to. I've done most of that course now in a recce form, so quite familiar with it, and it's fantastic. Really looking forward to that. It'll be quite a contrast to the Four Ranges Ultra in that it's 100% tree cover and quite technical. In January, Sherry and I are going down to the South Island again to hike the Old Ghost Road and the Abel Tasman track. I think we've got 5 days on the Old Ghost Road and about 4 days on the Abel Tasman track. So a couple of weeks down there in late January, which is going to be pretty cool. And yeah, I've entered the Old Ghost Ultra again, so I had that free entry to use up and I just couldn't resist it. So 1st of June came around, I was there on the computer, got the entry locked in, so we're good to go again in February. I think it's the 28th this year. So back down there and see if we can knock a bit of time off that 10 hours 38. After that, I'm not really quite sure. I've just got open space at the moment. Maybe I'll get back on my bike, not really sure. We'll we'll make something up for next year. I'm sure there'll be something around that'll spin my wheels, and we'll get into it. So a couple of thank yous. Firstly, thank you to Kashi from Selming New Zealand and Sportify New Zealand. Kashi's been helping me out with a lot of my training kit and racing gear using Selming shoes, specifically the Selming Recoil Trail, which I'm loving. That'll be the shoe that I use for the race. It's the shoe I used for the old Ghost Rider, and it's worked out perfect. Also thanks to Gur from Row PT, who's organised these t-shirts. These are the t-shirts that we've been selling for the fundraiser. We've got about 20 of them left, I think, to sell. So if you'd like one, $50, get in touch, just message me or phone me up and I can get a t-shirt organised for you. Yeah, that's really about it for now. Yeah, I really appreciate your support. Everybody's got behind the event. It's been fantastic. It's really made this quite a journey. It's had a whole lot of people other than just myself involved, which is really cool. The whole process has been really enjoyable so far, and I'm looking forward to sort of completing the project. I'm planning another video in late July and maybe another one in August before we go. And then I'm planning to video the Africa trip, obviously the race, but also the other stuff outside of the race as well, so kind of the whole journey. In the meantime, I'm going to try and figure out how I'm going to fit everything that I need to get into my pack. Watch the space, and hopefully I'll have that sorted by the time I come back to you for the next video. Thanks again for watching. Over and out.